Hi, welcome to the Kindest Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Rowe, and in 10 minutes or less, we're going to explore how to infuse kindness into every corner of your life. Thank you so much for joining me. I am a little under the weather, but I am pushing to get out an episode every week this year. So, without further ado, today we are going to tackle a topic that many of us might struggle with, and that is boundaries. Specifically, how to say no, uh, you know, can sometimes actually be the kindest thing you can do for yourself and for others. So, I'm going to share a personal story, explain why boundaries are crucial, and give 3 practical ways to set healthy limits without the guilt. Sound good? All right. So, a couple of years ago, I actually hit a wall. If you've been following along, or if you're new here, I had recently lost my husband, and I was still trying to move through life like most widows do. And I was working, I was still in my volunteer roles, I was on boards of nonprofits, I was busy, and I thought that was probably the best thing for me, so that I could not sit and dwell about what had happened. And I mean, I was doing everything, work projects, I was traveling a lot, volunteer opportunities, social obligations. I was not saying no. If somebody invited me out, I was doing that. So, on the outside, people saw me as successful and very busy, but really on the inside, I was exhausted, I was anxious, and I was quietly drowning. And what I didn't realize was that every unnecessary yes was really a no to myself. And that was no rest, no to my well being, and no to actually showing up fully for the things that mattered to me. And it wasn't until I actually went to visit my doctor, and we were kind of going over my health and how I've been doing since the passing of my husband. And she basically said, Cindy, your kindness is draining you. It's time to protect it. You need to set some boundaries. You need to say no to something. You need to put something off of your plate. And in that moment, they help me see that boundaries really aren't walls to keep people out. They're fences with gates that you control. And by learning to say no, it became one of the most powerful acts of self kindness I've ever practiced. And here is why boundaries matter. They matter to yourself. Saying no protects your mental health and prevents burnout. Research from the American Psychology Association shows that people with strong personal boundaries report lower stress and higher life satisfaction. And to others, clear boundaries actually creates trust. When you say yes to people, they know you mean it, not that you're stretching yourself too thin. And for teams or families, boundaries model healthy behavior. When leaders and parents set them, they show that others that it's okay to prioritize well-being too. So boundaries really are kindness in action. Now let's talk about the how, right? I'm going to give you some strategies to set boundaries with confidence and compassion, because that's what we're really all about. So number 1, the clear but kind no. You don't have to over-explain. And females, we tend to over-explain things, like giving reason upon reason why we are saying no. But we don't need to. You could simply say, thank you for thinking of me, but I don't have the capacity to take this on right now. right? It's clear, it's respectful, and it's kind. So the yes, but with limits, no. Sometimes you do want to help, right? Sometimes it might be a passion, uh, part of their passion work that you want to do this, but not at the cost of your sanity. So this is what you should try. Say this: I can't commit to the whole project, but I'd happy to contribute in this smaller way. This gives support without overloading yourself. And that's exactly what I did with one of the nonprofits I was working with. I went from a board position and resigned from the board position and just became a member. And that capacity really helped me because I felt like in the board role, I was letting people down because I couldn't do everything that I committed to be doing. So by stepping down to just being a regular member and being on a committee, it really gave me a little bit of freedom, but I could still be involved with an organization that I wanted to be involved with. Number 3, protect your energy now. Now, create default boundaries for your well-being. For example, no work emails after 7 p.m. No meetings on Friday afternoons. No automatic yes to social events without a pause to reflect. Do you really need to go? These proactive boundaries help you say no before you're overwhelmed, which is so important. So let's think about this. When you say no to what drains you, you're actually saying yes to what matters most, and that's your health, your relationships, and your purpose. That's not selfish. That's kindness. So here is your challenge for the week. I'm going to encourage you to practice one small boundary. It could be declining a request kindly, limiting your screen time, or carving out 15 minutes just for you. And after you've done that, I want you to take a moment and notice how it feels. Notice how it frees your energy. Because kindness isn't just about giving, it's also about protecting the best of yourself so that you can keep showing up fully. I hope you got a few nuggets out of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me on the Kindness Advantage. I encourage you, if you are new here, please go ahead and hit subscribe. If you've been following along for a little bit, I would love the act of kindness of leaving me a rating and review, 5-star rating, please. And if you found value, please feel free to share this with a friend because, that's the kind thing to do. I appreciate you for joining me this week and always. And remember, together we create waves of change through kindness.